What's going on? It's your man Scribs. Today what we're going to do is we're going to create a one image business plan. And why is it just one image? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One is I'm just a visual person. It's just I like to see a map in front of me to remind me what the hell I'm supposed to do. Two, I'm a chronic overthinker. And not overthinker in the sense of, well, I don't know if I really want to do this. It's more overthinking like I've been building businesses for the past 20 years and I've helped thousands of people build their online businesses. And so I have just so much data in my head. And with my ADHD, I just see a million different paths that businesses can take, right? There's no such thing as just one particular business that works, always works, right? I could take any business and we can go a million different ways. So you might say, oh, I want to do YouTube, or I want to do Twitter, I want to do Instagram, or I only want to focus on email, I want to focus on blogging, right? There's just a million different ways to make businesses work. And so because of this, it's hard for me to sit down and say, okay, this is what we're going to do for this business. And that can also feel very restrictive, right? A lot of you watching this are very creative people. And when you hear the word structure, you might go, I don't know about that. I'm not quite sure about structure, because structure means I can't be free and do what I want to do. And while this does provide some type of structure, it's a very loose structure that allows the creativity to shine while also working within the realm of building something that is going to continue to make money. So who is this for? This is for the overthinkers. This is for what I like to call the talented underachievers. Those people who just know they're meant for more. Those people who they're brilliant, but for some reason they can't translate that brilliance into something that looks great for other people. And so for those people, this is perfect. This is going to be perfect for you. This is also for the people who are already doing well. Maybe you're making $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month, and you're thinking, well, what do I have to do to make more? Now, when I say make more, this is where also people get a little worried, because they sit there and they go, well, I don't really want to work harder. Like, there's nothing wrong with working hard, but there is something wrong with working a lot. And what I'm going to show you also fixes that, because I have 3 kids. I have a life that I want to live. I don't want to live in my business. I want to wake up knowing what I'm supposed to do with my business, take care of it, and then go do whatever I want. Otherwise, like, what's the point of this? We're not trying to build another job for ourselves. So we're going to figure all that out, again, in just one single image. And if you don't believe me, just watch and we'll see what's going on. So first, we're going to start off with the question of what is a business? And you might think there's a ton of answers for that. And I guess there really are, but there's only one that I like to use. So for me, a business is nothing but a simple equation where it's audience times offer. That's all a business is. Every business in the world, past, present, future, this is what it is. You can't have a business without some type of audience, and you can't have a business without some type of offer. That's it. But this simplicity is kind of tricky, right? I will tell you, business is simple, but it's not easy. This is what makes business simple. All of you watching this, you understand this equation, right? There's no question, like, okay, that makes perfect sense. I get it. And when I say audience, that means customers, people who are willing to buy. It doesn't just mean everybody who just follows you and doesn't do anything, okay? But it gets complicated, because what happens is we go to the gurus and we say, I need to build an audience. Well, the gurus give you, 37 different tactics that you have to do. And so you're trying them and you're saying things like, I'm not getting attention. We'll just say no attention. Or I'm getting really good at creating viral things, but nobody's buying. So you're not making any money, right? Or you just might be terrified. Like, I just don't know what to say. You just have no idea. And so we go in these loops where we go around looking at YouTube, Instagram. We're just looking for answers. And we start to bounce through a million different tactics. But the problem with all these tactics is that they miss the foundation of what needs to be in this content and your marketing and all that kind of stuff. So this is why you see people who are great at growing on Instagram or great at doing viral videos on YouTube, but they can't make money. We're not trying to grow a huge moneyless audience. We want to get the most out of everything that we do. So even if you have a following of just 100 people, it should be when you put out a piece of content, that piece of content is doing a ton of work. And when I mean work, it means it's getting the right people to you. It's getting them to look at your offer, and it's already getting them to put in their heads that you're the person they want to work with. When we look at offers, we also get confused because now people say, well, you know what? You should do coaching. But if you do coaching, you can't do one-on-one because that just takes up too much time. So now you should do group coaching. But you know what? It's better to have MRR, so you should have a community. But people keep on leaving the community and then you get stressed about churn and everything. So what you should really do is low ticket offers. And then you realize low ticket offers require a ton of volume. So what you need is actually a high ticket program. Right? And it just, when you add these two together, it's just chaos, right? It's just chaos. You sit there and you go, what the hell am I supposed to do? It's just, I've been through this. It's not fun. It's not fun. But because other people can make certain things work, you think that's what I'm supposed to do. But then it doesn't work for you. So then you jump onto something else because some other person made that work. Again, this is why I needed to simplify my life majorly. So let's start with this image. So if business is nothing more than an audience and an offer, let's do this visually. What do we need to do as a business? Well, everybody starts, your customer, your audience starts here at point A. And all we're trying to do is get them over here to point B, right? That's what they look for us for. If we can't help them get from point A to point B, they'll look for someone else. And so that's the most basic aspect of business. If you can't understand that concept, then just, I don't know, maybe this is not for you. But this B part is very important. So this is the outcome. What is that outcome? Let's do a medal here. So if they get over here, they get a medal. The outcome has to be something that they truly want. So you'll see a lot of people say, I'm going to start a business, and what my business is going to do is help people build more confidence. But do people want more confidence? Technically, yes, they probably do, right? Like there's nothing, people like the idea of having more confidence, but it's very hard to imagine more confidence. Rarely does anybody wake up and go, man, I need more confidence. No, there's actually something very specific that they want. So let's get rid of this. So when they wake up and they think, what's that thing that they want? What is it? Now this can be very big. So for me, what I'm saying is I'm going to help you get to $25,000 a month. Okay. You might say, well, I can't really do a big thing like that. So what else can I do? Well, let's go even smaller. Let's say, I'll help you create 7 days of content. Okay, right? Like that's smaller. You could probably go even smaller than this. I'll help you with your next reel. So when we talk about outcomes, I'm not saying you need to aim for the stars. Whatever your level is, wherever you are in your journey, you can dictate what the outcome is. I'm saying for me, I'm going to help get you to $25,000 a month. Okay. Now we might want to get even more specific. Why? Because other people can say that. And this has to be something I can make sure I can do, right? Let's just not, you're not just making something up. It has to be something that you do yourself. Okay. So let's say $25,000 a month, but what else? Let's add only working 20 hours a week. Okay. So now it looks a little more enticing. And people might say, well, 20 hours a week, that probably means I have to hire a team. Well, what if I say no team? Because if you're like me, like I'm just a solo person. Like I like to hang out with people. I like to talk to people, but I like to do my stuff, right? It's very hard for me to let go, and not saying I can't, I very well could, but there hasn't been a need for me to do that yet. So, and when I say team, there are little odd jobs here and there, like for example, editing a YouTube video, right? I mean a full-time person that's always going to be there that does stuff, right? I don't, at this moment, I don't need that person, thankfully. So now we have this outcome, and we have to think, does this person really want to make $25,000 a month, only working 20 hours a week with no team? Well, we're just going to assume they do, because that's a pretty good outcome, and that's an outcome that's easy to visualize, right? We call that hard promises. Hard promises are just easy to visualize. Now I can also add another element, like how long will this take this person? Usually when it comes to making money, I don't like to add how long it will take, because that's very dependent on mindset and a lot of other things, right? But you might see some people might do losing weight, right? I'm going to help you lose 10 pounds in 7 days. So that's a hard outcome that people can understand with a time frame behind it and everything. And they might add something else to it. Well, other people could say 10 pounds in 7 days. Well, I'm going to allow you to lose 10 pounds in 7 days, while eating ice cream. Oh, okay. Sounds good, right? Like that's just something that just becomes a bit harder outcome, that when people see it, they immediately go, I get it. I get it. That's the thing. Like I want that thing. So we got to make sure that these outcomes are, stuff that people want. Because if you don't nail that, then there's just nothing else works. There's no reason focusing on content and anything else, because it's just not something people want. Okay. So now we have this bridge from A to B. Now you might be thinking, well, this is where I need to figure out how to get them from A to B. And that's true, right? You want to get them to A to B as quickly and effortlessly as possible. That's what people want. They want the thing, but they don't want to work too hard for the thing, right? So if I said, I'm going to help you do this, but what you need to do is actually you need to work 100 hours a week for 6 months. You need to push out 100 videos, right? If I start saying these things, and it's like, oh, that feels very overwhelming. And it's going to take some time to get to $25,000 a month. So what do? I have to inject small wins along the way. And so what we have to assume is that on this bridge, there's a wall. And this wall is one of the things that people need to do, overcome, one of the big problems they face with regards to getting to that outcome. So for me, if you want to achieve this outcome, you need to, create amazing content. Okay. So we could say content is one of the things that people just have to excel at. They have to do well. And that becomes a big problem for a lot of people, because they sit here and go, oh, content. Exactly. That's where I struggle. That's why I'm not making $25,000 a month. It's because content, right? Okay. So now that I know that, when I look at the content, what I can do is this wall, we can break this wall into 3 sections. And these 3 sections are the micro problems within this thing. So when it comes to content, what are the 3 micro problems that my people have? Well, let's say 1, they have no idea what to post, right? 2, nobody pays attention. And 3, it takes too long. So these are the 3, say 1, 2, 3, right? These are the 3 things that my audience think about when they think about content. They go, well, one of my problems is I have no idea what I'm supposed to post. And when I do post, nobody's really paying attention, so the content's not working. And the content that does seem to be working, it takes way too long to create. And so it's very important that I help them with that, okay? And actually what we're going to call these the struggles. So within this wall, there are 3 struggles, okay? So right now we have something here. Like if you can nail this, you're looking pretty good. And then what we do is, there are 2 other walls, right? Same thing Same thing for this wall. What we did for this wall. This wall, same thing we did this wall, right? So 3 sections. 3 sections. And so the next wall that my people have to face is the offer, right? If they don't have a good offer, then again, like they're just not going to get that $25,000 a month. It's just not going to happen. The third wall is going to be a system. Because if they don't have a good system, then they're going to get overwhelmed. Because remember, what we said is they can do this 20 hours a week with no team. Okay, so the content and offer do help with the 25,000, but without a good system in place, they're going to work way harder than they're supposed to be working, or they're going to feel overwhelmed that they're going to have to bring someone else in and everything. So we need a good system to ensure we can get there, right? So these are the 3 obstacles the 3 main obstacles that my person is going to encounter while trying to cross this bridge. And I'll do the same thing. I'll have 3 struggles for each of these. Okay. And by doing that, what happens is now I'm starting to strengthen. We're going to talk about content and the overall offer in a minute, but you can see this really starts to solidify if you have something or not. This is why this is just a wonderful business plan, because it tests you. It validates your idea before you even have to do anything. Because if I can't come up with 3 great struggles for this wall, then maybe it's either not a great wall, or I don't understand my audience well enough, or some other issue. But if I can ensure that I can come up with the 3 struggles for each of these 3 walls, then I have something. Okay. Now, with these 3 struggles, I want to make sure, I can help for each part of it, right? And when I have the solutions for all 3, what I usually have is what we call a unique mechanism. So this wall, there's a unique way that I can show you how to get over that wall. And that's my unique mechanism. And what that does is that builds authority and all that wonderful stuff that people love to talk about. And the same goes with the offer, same goes with the system. Okay? I mean, by now, if you're following along and you're doing this, you should really feel like, okay, I can kind of see a business here. I could see something that makes sense here. I really like this. Now, there's some other aspects of this wall that we need to talk about, because when we add these other layers to it, we're going to see that it's going to strengthen our content. And the stronger our content is, the stronger our marketing, the less selling that we have to do. And I think that's what we want, right? Like we don't want to sell. We want to sell out. We want to sell all our stuff that we can, but we don't want to have to actually feel like that we are selling. Because if you're doing a great job with your marketing, I promise you, there's just almost no need for selling whatsoever. And so under each wall, there's a goblin. Let's see if I can draw a goblin here. There's a goblin. And this goblin we can pretend there's a hole here, and this goblin is saying things. This goblin does not want you to go over that wall, right? This goblin is saying everything that it can to prevent you from going over the wall. It's this voice, right? When you get ready to work on something, it's that voice in your head. But that voice is not you. And so that's why we're representing as a goblin, because that voice is not you. That voice is not saying true things. So what is that voice saying? Well, we can literally look at our struggles here. So no idea. Might say, you're not smart because you don't know what you're talking about. Nobody pays attention. You could say, why should people care? Why should people even care about you? Like, what have you done that makes people even bother paying attention? Takes too long? You have no time. You have so many other things in your life that you have to do. You just have no time. Now, the thing is, this goblin, the voice, it's saying these things, these aren't true, right? These are going to be like false beliefs that people have. But because now that I know them, what I can do is I can start addressing them in the content here. So I'm already telling you, you do have enough time. There's a system to show you have enough time. And you have done something that is worthy of people paying attention. And you will have plenty of ideas. There's plenty of ideas of the content that you should be creating. We can already see that here, right? So within this video itself, I'm already going through everything that I'm showing you. So this is kind of like meta. This is some Matrix Inception type stuff that we got going on here. And to further boost this, what we want to do is on this wall. So on this wall, there's messages. People are leaving messages, talking about how they've scaled the wall, right? And these become case studies and testimonials. You know, my own journey. And this is what encourages people more. This is what makes people believe even more. Like, oh, okay, I can get over that wall. Like, this is for me. I can do this. Okay. Now, there's one more aspect of the wall, because people need to understand what happens after they scale the wall. Like, do they really want this thing? And so with content, we're going to put a little treasure box here. With content, when they scale this wall, they get to open a treasure box. And what's in the treasure box is an effortless creation of content. They can wake up every day and they know exactly what they're going to create. They fully understand that. Okay, so that becomes kind of like the micro outcome. When we're looking at the bigger outcome, it's good to have these little micro outcomes, because what that does is that helps instill more belief into the person. Yes, I'm going to help you make $25,000 a month, and one of those things I'm going to do is I'm going to make content creation feel effortless. Oh, okay. Now it looks good. So now that makes the offer feel even more appealing. We got that. And so, again, with each of these walls, I just do the exact same thing. What's the treasure? What's the goblin saying? And now we have something. And this is your image. This is your image. Can we take it further? Yeah. You know, if you want to do a little bit of world building, you know, we can say this is the chasm that they have to cross, and this is the culprit. And the culprit could be that big thing that you and your people are all fighting against. You know, my people are fighting against believing that there's only one way to do things. But no, like, you can systemize your genius and you can create that unique mechanism that works perfect for you. Or society overall saying, you know, the only way to live in society is you have to get a job. Like, you have to do this. You can't follow those things that you love. You can't try to find joy in doing something and make money. But I'm telling you, you can. And so when I kind of infuse that as well in this journey, then what happens is people go, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I want. I'm going to pay attention to you. You have exactly what I need and everything. And doing all this, you're the Sherpa, right? You're their Sherpa. And this is why they're looking at you, because when they first come across you, you're going to say, you know, I'm going to help you achieve this outcome. But there are dozens, hundreds, or thousands of other people saying that as well. And so what you want to do is you want to describe each part of this journey across this bridge, because you're walking with them. You're getting up to that first wall, and they're looking at that first wall, and they go, yeah, I've seen this wall before. Like, I struggle with this problem, and this problem. And you say, well, you know, I'm going to show you how to get over that. And they have that voice talking, and you're sitting there going, like, you know, don't listen to that voice. Pay no mind to that. I know what it's saying. Pay no mind to it. Here, this is how we're going to scale the wall. And when you scale that wall, there's something special for you on the other side. And again, this makes people sit there and they go, I love that. That's exactly what I want. Everything. So now, looking at what we have here, when we look at this audience and offer, so to build an audience, we need the content, right? Now, when it comes to content, there's a million different ways to go about it, right? There's the long form, the short form, whatever platform you decide. But let's ignore all that for right now, because what we want to talk about is the actual substance of the content. And this is what would always throw me off, because I would sit down and I would just go, okay, like, what random thing do I want to talk about that applies to my business today? And that works every once in a while. That works when I have energy. And then I sat there and I said, I can't do this forever. Like, this doesn't make sense. It becomes a struggle. It would take me 3 hours to plan content and 10 minutes to create it. That's silly. So then I thought, well, you know what I need to do is I need to take notes. And then if I take notes, then I can just refer to those notes and come back and do something. And I still do that to help me with certain ideas. But The problem is those ideas weren't connected. So when people are coming to one of my social media profiles or reading my content, they're kind of like, wow, all this is great, but like, what do you do? Right? There's no overall feeling theme that when they come visit me and they come read my content, that they know what they're going to get out of it. They know that's going to help them get to whatever I'm trying to help them get to. And so when we look at the bridge, now we kind of have the content ideas. So our content can be around 3 walls, right? So first we can start with the walls. Everything that I do, is it going to help them get better with their content? Is it going to help them get better with the offer? Is it going to help them get better with their systems? Okay. Those are my 3 things. So I know every single time I create a piece of content, I should be thinking about those. Now, there's times where I'll just create a piece of content that I'm like, oh, I just really want to create this because I think it's a cool idea and I just want to get it out in the world. I'm not saying not to do that. But what I'm saying is when I sit down each week to look at the content that I want to create, I don't have to go, what am I going to do today? No, look at my 3 walls. Okay, now then within the 3 walls, I have my 3 struggles. So then I might want to pinpoint deeper on a struggle. And the thing is with the struggles can change over time. You might say, I might say, well, my people, they understand what they want to create, but it's not converting. So I need to get rid of this idea and I need to put something else in its place. Okay, and that's fine. Like things are going to evolve over time. The wall is going to change over time. But now I have my struggles. I sit there and I go, okay, now this piece of content is going to be on content and it's going to be, nobody's paying attention. So do I have to word it as nobody's paying attention? No, this is where I can get creative. And this is why I say there's a structure, but the structure doesn't remove the creativity. So the creativity could be, how can I build a story around nobody's paying attention to me? So I might say, I'm going to do this reel around, based on storytelling on nobody paying attention to me. Or I want to do a how-to. And there's, other types of content other structures of content that you can follow and you just start plugging and playing. So for example, I'm going to give you some of the pieces of some of the different types of content that you can go about creating. Talk about your journey. Someone else's journey. And what I mean by this is it could be like a person that you're helping. It could be that, but I could also look at someone else that is well known in my industry and apply my framework to them. Like this is how Alex Hormozy tackles the bridge. So we got that. So that works out. What's your contrarian belief? If you have a contrarian belief about the industry, so you see something about the industry where people are going on and on. So before in my industry, it worked really well to say funnels are dead, right? Like, because everybody was doing the hardcore Russell Brunson type of funnels where it's fake scarcity, fake urgency, and then other people start popping up. Like, no, that's not. There's a better way to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to trick your audience. And so that made sense. And you start talking about that. If I start saying that today, then there will be some people that go nod their head. They go, yeah. But the reality of it is, a lot of people are saying it. So then, is there something else when I'm looking at everybody talking about my industry that I can say, yeah, this is where I want to go. So I might say, short form is killing your business. And people go, what? Wait, what? Really? Oh. Okay, or we'd say you really only need you only need to create 1 video a month. What? Really? Okay. So we can see like there's different types of content that we can start plugging in, but all of these, and whatever giant other list of types of content I can do, I can always just come back to my bridge again and look and be like, okay, I'm going to talk about this contrarian take of you only need to create 1 video a month. I'm totally just making that up. Some people could probably get away with it, but that I'm just making up, but it sounds good. Okay. And because of that, the reason why you can get through one video a month and is because you can nail this content that has the right offer, that follows the right system, then you have something. Okay. And again, it just, and I can talk about what the little goblin, what voice is the goblin saying with regards to this stuff. And it just, again, it becomes some nice plug and play. And now what we want to do is we want to think about the character, the person we're talking to. Because you might have heard, experts love to say this now, that we are in a trust economy. And they're mostly right. But the problem is, trust economy means what exactly? People are like, oh, you got to be authentic. You got to do this. So you sit here going, well, I shouldn't have nice lighting or a good camera to film videos. I have to do videos on my phone and do them while I'm walking or something like that, right? Like, none of those things are wrong, but it's hard for us to quantify what trust is for people. And so what we actually are in is in the identity economy. This is what we're in. And the reason why I say the identity economy is because when we start to see ourselves in someone else, that's where we build trust. And so there's nothing new that we have to add here because we've already done this. So when I talk about these 3 different walls, and the person that's listening to me goes, yeah, those are my problems. When I talk about the 3 struggles within each wall, people go, well, yeah, that's exactly. When I talk about what the goblin's saying, the person goes, that's exactly what's going on. When I talk about the prize after each wall, people go, that's exactly what I want. And when I talk about the outcome over here, they go, yes, that's exactly the thing that I've been dying to get and everything. So I know my character. So my character is the person who wants all of this, who experiences all of this, who has to go through all of this. So I know my character. So I don't have to sit here and go, okay, well, let me do a character profile because people like to do the ICPs, ideal customer profile and all that kind of stuff. And that can be challenging. For me, that's really challenging to do because I can't even profile myself. And so whenever anybody says, they start off with, well, you got to know your ICP. And I'm like, oh God, I don't know. Like, is the person like this? Do they do this? Do they feel like this? Because, like, again, in my head, there's just chaos in my head. And so trying to even think about something that someone who's similar to me is like, I don't know. And I struggled with that for the longest time. But when I started to do the bridge and all the different aspects of it, then it just became, oh, okay, well, my character is the person that has to experience this bridge. And that's it. Like, sure, I can add on little other things. Every once in a while, I'll talk about my ADHD, but that doesn't mean my character has to have ADHD. That just becomes a connection point. Or I'll talk about how I have 3 kids, right? That doesn't mean my character has to have 3 kids. That just becomes another connection point. Those are the things, looking at me now, wearing the hat back, wearing the t-shirt and all that kind of stuff. Some people will relate to that style. Others won't. But again, that doesn't mean I'm talking to the person only the people who do the hat back type style. No, right? It's just another connection point. And so we know the character. We know the character already once we've completed the bridge. So we're solid on that as well. And that becomes our content. Now, I have a better way to break down the content and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in really getting a breakdown on the content, I have something for you. Just look below and there's a resource there for you if you want to go through it. But having this set up, again, there's never a time where I go, like, what am I supposed to create today? What kind of content do I need to do? And this leads to my social media content, the essays and blog posts I create for my site, emails that I create. Like, it all flows into this. Now, there are times where I might sit down and I say, okay, I need to create an email sequence, right? So if I need to create an email sequence, what's the email sequence going to be? Well, again, I just look at one of these walls and decide this is what I talk about. And I might throw in some identity stuff. When I say identity stuff, What I mean is, okay, what is the current life of my character? Well, this person really struggles with this. They wake up dreading this. This is how they feel about this. Okay, and I throw that in an email. This is how, and I felt that same way. But now I don't feel that way because this is how my life is, and this is how I was able to overcome it. So now, how did he scale the wall, right? So now I have my mechanism involved. And again, I'm talking about the 3 struggles and all that, and then what I got at the end, the prize at the end, right? And then those just, there's enough here where you don't have to say the same thing over and over again, but you're still saying the same thing over and over again, if that makes sense, right? I'm always talking about one of these 3 walls. I'm always talking about this bridge and this outcome. I'm always talking about that, but I get to talk about it in different ways because there's nothing more that I hate than feeling like I'm repeating myself. And that's why I used to always sit down and go, okay, what unique piece of content am I going to create today? But again, doing that and trying to do that consistently just does not work. It's draining. Again, there'll be some times where I will sit there and go, well, no, I had this idea for this unique piece of content. I'm going to create it. Because I got to do things for me, right? I got to do things for me. But there has to be some consistency and some type of system that you can always lean on when you sit down to do your work. And so this system I can sit down and lean on just by, again, looking at this image and go, okay, that. Now, what I've done is I've created an automated type of system that does a better job of helping me with this kind of stuff. And if you're really interested in getting further help with that, again, like look below and all that kind of stuff. But we're not done because content was only one part of it, right? We said audience times offer. So now the offer, right? And this is another place where people struggle because they go, I just don't know what my offer should be. And they go, we've talked about this, they go and they look at, well, some people say I should do low ticket, some people say I should do community, yada, yada. Get the actual format out of your head first. What we want to do is we want to look. We've already decided, okay, I'm going to help people get to $25,000 a month. And I need to help them overcome all 3 of these things. What's the best way for me to deliver that? Is it going to be in a course? I might say, well, it's going to be in a course. Well, the problem is with a course, I'm going to do a lot of details and, is there any new insight that I can give in a course that I'm not already given in this free video? Probably not. Okay, well, I can do a workshop, but again, like, how's a workshop going to differ than what I'm explaining right now? Okay, so then what I need to do is create a tool that's going to help them individually figure out each of these walls, figure each of the struggles of the walls, the voices, the actual outcome that they're going to do. If I can create that, then that's something I can lead people to. And so that's what I've created. And so that helped me. And so when you're doing your offer, all you're thinking of, does my offer, first and foremost, does my offer help people get here? And if it does, how long does it take? If it takes forever, then we're in trouble. But if it does take forever, then at very least, are these prizes at the end worth it? Because these prizes are progress for someone. So if I say, once we climb that first wall, you're going to create content effortlessly, right? There's going to be effortless creation. Then they feel like, oh, you're right. Like now I feel like I'm making progress. Now let's move on to the offer. Okay, what's the prize at the offer? The offer sells itself. You won't have to do any hard selling. You don't have to get on sales calls. By the time people know that you have something to offer them, they are ready to buy. The job of the sales page isn't to sell. The job of the sales page is just to get their payment information. Oh, that sounds amazing. Okay, and then that feels like progress. And now we have that system. What's the system? Well, you will wake up every single day knowing exactly what you're supposed to do with your business. And then when you decide those days where you just don't want to do anything, guess what? Your business still continues moving and it still grows. Brilliant. I want that. Okay, so now I have these things. I know my offer has to deliver upon this. And it has to deliver in a way that makes it feel not necessarily easy, but not challenging or difficult for my person. If I can create that offer, I'm good. My offer's set. There's nothing else I need to worry about. And then again, I can figure out like what's the format for it. Like I can feel, maybe I say, I have a community. In the community, there, are some videos that walk people through these things, but this is really what I'm doing. But for me, like creating a community to try to deliver an offer probably wouldn't help. Doing a book alone, okay, well, I can create a book, but the book would just have this, and there might be like worksheets. Again, I can do that. If I did do a course, it would probably be a more of a mini course, because I wouldn't want a ton of information, because I want people to go through these things. And each of my struggles might have their own little smaller tools. So I can just create a tool set that gets people to take action, to feel like they're doing that. Because even when they finish one section of the wall, that feels like a win. Like, oh, I don't have that problem anymore. Now they're on the next section. That feels like a win. Now they're in this section. That's a win. Then when they get to the treasure, oh, that's the big win for me. Now I'm ready for the next obstacle that I have to overcome. So now you should see, like, this is the business. This is the business. And from here, then it just becomes, okay, how do I do this consistently? How do I put that in a system that nails all this down consistently? And if you look below, that is what I'm going to help you with further, because there are different ways to go about this. And again, this is one of those confusing things for a lot of people, because then they go, am I supposed to be on Instagram? Should I be on YouTube? Am I supposed to do any type of blogging? I know I'm supposed to email, but how many emails do I send? Should I do a podcast? Right? It becomes all these different questions. But if we can find the system that ensures that all these things are working, and we're helping people get through this journey without us being around, then we're in a good place. Matter of fact, let's go over a quick system right now. Let's go over a quick system. So this video is what I call a big value asset. This video kind of gives like the big picture of what I can help you with, right? So now you see this big picture here of what I can help you with. That's why it's a big value asset, because it covers a lot, and people have to be able to walk away and say, I got something out of that. I'm able to implement something from that, right? Because you watch a lot of videos and they give you the theory, but you kind of just don't know how to implement. Well, you kind of see how to implement this here. So what I'm going to do, and I'm actually going to show you the strategy that I'm going to do with this video, and this is why you're probably here on this video, is this video, we'll call this again, the BVA, big value asset, is here. And so what I'm going to do is create other YouTube videos that a YouTube video might cover a whole wall, how to overcome a whole wall, or a struggle in the wall. And again, it depends. Like, some things I can talk forever about, some things might only take 2 minutes. So I have that. But I also know what's supposed to go in these videos. The voices, the prize at the end, the actual struggle itself, the present life that the person's living, right? And I include those in that, along with how to overcome that aspect of it. And then I say, oh, do you want to see how to put all this together? And I send them here. And that's probably how you came to this video and everything. Then I also have Instagram. And Instagram will be more short form, obviously. So the short form is going to do more of the struggles. How to overcome different aspects of the struggle. And I'll probably break the struggles down even further. Think of when people do rock climbing in the gym, and they have the different, I don't know what you call the things, but different things you put your hands and your feet on. The short reel might just cover one thing. This is how you put your hand, this is how you reach this one specific point and everything. And then in the Instagram bio, boom, send them back here. But then what I can also do is use ManyChat. When I knock out one of these things, I say, oh, do you want to actually see how to go further and really take this? Or do you want to see how I truly solve this struggle? Well, here. I send them to the YouTube video of it. And so now I have this ecosystem. That's what people love to call it now, this content ecosystem that is sending people through. But this BVA is sending them to my offer. And in my case, what's my offer? Well, again, look below and you'll see it. And then this offer, for some people, this offer will be the only thing, right? You might just say, I have a coaching program and that's my offer. Well, my offer is just the opening. So this offer that you do, if you go and get it, the offer will help you achieve this thing. But then if you want to continue to make life easier and everything, then it sends people to, I'll just keep it simple and say offer 2. And so now all I have to do, and we're ignoring emails here because emails get sent out no matter what. So now all I have to do is ensure that I'm creating great YouTube content, great Instagram content. That again, just keeps on filtering people through. And when people are ready, they'll go up here. Now, you might not know anything about cattle, but what they used to do for cattle is, let's say, draw a bath. They want to wash the cattle, right? Let's say they want to do that. So what they would do is they would put them in a chute. So cattle just had to go a straight line. This stressed the cattle out because for whatever reasons, this is animals, it just stresses them out. And stressed animals are just never good. So someone came along, this amazing woman came along and said, you know what, we can do better with this. So if we want them to go here, what we don't want them to do is to be able to look straight ahead, because again, that stresses them out for some reason. So what if we made this curved? Well, okay, we could just try to pack them in here, but it's even better if what we do is we have this pen, this is where they come in, where they can just go in a circle. Now, the cows don't know they're just walking in circles. The cows feel like they're constantly moving, and that's what they like to do. And when they want to, then they choose to come in here. And when they choose to, because they're choosing to come in here, there's less stress. Makes it easier to give them baths. Provides better milk and all that kind of stuff. So this is what you're doing for your audience. You're basically saying, I have this thing here. Whenever you're ready for it, it's here. There's no pressure. I'm going to keep on providing amazing content. I'm going to help you, do amazing things and help you along every step of the way. So when you're ready, it's here. And then you get that stress-free client, the stress-free customer. The customer's like, oh yeah, they got to buy on their terms, which makes them feel good, which then should make you feel good. So then they're more willing to try to get the result. And when they get the result, then they tell you they get the result, and they tell other people to get the result. And guess what? Then other people start to come to you. But this only works if the content is great and the offer is great. How do you make sure the content and offer is great? You already know. You already know because it's right there. And so that's how we have a whole business plan in one single image. Okay? I think we covered everything there. Now again, there's always little tactics like, okay, what kind of emails do I send? How many emails do I send out? Do I look at trends for content and that kind of stuff? What on my Instagram, do I create a series? Do I do reels? Do I do carousels? Like those are tactics that aren't disrupting this strategy. Tactics are just a way to apply this different strategies. I mean, this single strategy here and everything. Okay? So if you can do that, you're good. You can create your bridge image, blow it up, put it in front of you every single day, and you have your business always there right in front of you. And then you can start pick and choose, mix and match all the different things that you want to put in. And you got something amazing. All right. Woo. So again, if you want to continue going further with this and you want to make life easier for creating that bridge image and creating your own system, then check below. I got a nice thing for you to check out. And yeah, just let's continue this journey together. I had fun doing this. Hope you had fun. I had a great time doing this. I love doing this stuff. So, do the usual YouTube stuff, like, follow, subscribe, and all that kind of beautiful things. And I will check you again later. All right. It's your man Scripps. Peace.